Recording in progress.
Good evening and welcome to the June 4th, 2026 Ways and Means Committee meeting. Roll call, please.
Alderwoman Gold is absent. Alderman Gould.
Here.
Alderman Meyer.
Here.
Alderwoman Tice.
Here. Thank you. That takes us to the approval or amendment of the agenda. Are there any changes or amendments to the agenda? Seeing none, we will approve it by acclamation. That takes us next to citizen comments, and I don't see any citizens in the gallery. Is there anyone online?
No one online.
Okay, great. Next up is the report of committee chair and alderman, and the only thing that I have is the next Ways and Means meeting is on Thursday, July 2nd, which is the night before the three-day weekend, and it makes sense to either postpone the meeting or move it, and so I've left it to staff to decide if there are things that we need to address before the July board meeting, then they will work to set a meeting the week after July 4th. So, and then Alderman Gould
No report.
and Alderman Meyer.
No report.
Okay, that takes us to the city administrator report. And the first thing we have is the presentation of the audit. So, and I understand Michelle's maybe online and Andrew is here.
Michelle's not quite online yet, but she is coming in online.
Okay, well, we're just flying through, so,
Yeah, do you want to wait?
oh, is she? Okay. Okay, let's let her introduce it, and then I'll have you make your presentation. Unless she doesn't make. Dr. Bola. Yes, Bola, why don't you introduce it, and then we'll introduce.
Are required to have an audit of their prior fiscal year finances, and quite fortunate in partnering with CLA to do the city's audit. I believe we work very well together with staff and employees of CLA. It's been a really good process, and we continue to have improvements on responsibilities that staff take on. So Andrew is here to give a report of the draft audit and financial statement, and then when it goes to the Board of Aldermen and they adopt it and accept it, it becomes formal, no longer a draft document. So Andrew, take it
Yeah.
away.
Thank you, Andrew.
So as Bo alluded, there should be PowerPoint slides. There's also a draft of those financial statements too. I'm going to kind of walk you through.
Okay.
Hi, Michelle.
Hi, Michelle.
Hi, Michelle.
Hi,
Do you want to add anything to what I just said, if you heard it?
I did not hear it.
Okay, well, we'll just continue.
Okay.
So presenting the 2025 financial statement audit for the city of Brentwood. So, you know, the city of Brentwood, I've said this the last couple of years, but you guys have really progressed. Michael, I think you might be new or relatively new to the board, but kind of the history there is between 2020 and 2022, the city really fell behind on audits, and they're using another firm. And as a result of that, and one thing, Bo, that she didn't mention is that cities are required to have audits, and then you guys also have bonds too. So the bond rating requires you to have financial statements completed within 6 months after year end. And so in prior years, from 2020 to 2022, the city fell behind in some audits, and they preliminary got their draft, their rating removed, and then they got it reinstated after getting caught up. And so it's been a really big emphasis of the city to have timely financial statements done, allow the city to operate, not have to worry about like finances and specifically like compliance related matters like the audit. So, the last 3 years, things have gone really smooth with the city of Brentwood. Gina Jarvis has been a great support system. In addition to that, the city has also taken back some services that they would usually rely on the auditors to do, like tracking capital assets and things like that. So, from the financial perspective, Michelle's done a good job of managing the team and managing the workload and reconciling cash timely. And, I say that because reconciling cash is really, really, really important right now. I work with a lot of cities and counties, and funding is tight, right? Like you're not getting as much federal funding, like state funding is going to get really hard, and specifically in 2027 because the state of Missouri is going to have some serious financial problems. So, it's really going to rely on your property taxes and your sales taxes and your license and things like that. But it's really important that you guys are financially responsible, which you guys have been. There are other cities, specifically in St. Louis County, that are not as good a shape as you guys. But I'll run through what some of the numbers were for 2025. But in summary, like the scope of the work is the financial statement audit. Last year we had to have a single audit. A single audit is when you have federal money that like expenditures that exceed a certain dollar threshold. So you had FEMA money last year, and you also had MoDOT funding for road repairs and maintenance. So that money did not exceed the threshold that requires a single audit this year. So it's just a financial statement audit, which is good because it's less audit fees for you guys. However, it is less federal money for you. Overall, the status is that we have initiated our quality review process. Will be done next week, and then we'll present to the full board of aldermen. What date is that, Bola?
15th.
The 15th. At that date, the audit report will go final, and then you'll submit it to both to the rating agencies and to the state of Missouri, and you guys will be done. From in the PowerPoint slides, there are some highlights as to what fund balance is. The general fund did overspend by about $800,000. It's nothing detrimental. The cash that you guys have on hand is about a half of years of your expenses. So if you had no revenue, you'd still be able to operate the city for about half a year. That's a pretty good measure, right? So you typically want cash to be about 20% of what your expenditures are, and it's about 50%. So that's a good measure as far as liquidity for the government. Another thing to really start paying attention to is like the pension trust fund. You guys have the police and fire plan. That continued to perform very well. Well, we're gonna have to pay attention to what those earnings are looking like. You're still making your like contributions to the plan, so the plan is well funded. But I would expect those significant returns eventually to start slowing down. Yeah, the police and fire plan yielded about 9% return, those investments.
I think for people who are listening, I think the plan is dependent upon a 7% return. That's sort of modeled into the pension plan, so.
Yeah.
And is there a PowerPoint that should have been added to the packet materials? Because I don't see the PowerPoint. I see the PDF for the audit draft. Okay, thank you. I'll just listen in and.
Yeah. Capital improvement sales tax was about break even, so was economic development. So overall, like the governmental funds, the fund balance is about $25 million. I would, really make sure for 2027, you're paying attention to your budget. Like things are going to get tight. So, yeah. As far as like corrected misstatements that we identified during the audit, we help you guys with like adjusting receivables and things like that. You guys keep your books on a cash basis. You guys also handle things like capital assets and certain accrual adjustments. But, we know that we're going to help you with some adjustments at year end, but we didn't really identify anything that you guys had recorded incorrectly that we weren't already aware of. There are some uncorrected misstatements that are in our audit report. One of them is how you amortize your deferred financing costs for your bonds. You do that over a straight line. GAAP says you should do that align with how you have interest expense. So interest expense is higher at the beginning of the bond period and it's lower at the end. So in theory, you should be amortizing your deferred financing costs in that same manner. But like overall, the city should be really proud of their financial position, the ability to get audits done timely, and it's really nice to see how far you guys have come in the last 3-4 years.
So I'll just start. So Andrew, thank you to you and Nick and all the folks at Clifton and Larson Allen who worked on this for us. And then kudos to Michelle and the strength that she brings to the finance department. And we're lucky to have Gina and her long history with the city. So we are lucky to have their strength in putting the audit together and then in guiding us as we put the budget together this fall. And I didn't have any particular questions. It was a really great audit, and thank you for working with us and for getting it here on time. So we're going to meet our June 30th goal. Are there other questions? Okay. Anything else to add, Michelle, since you can hear now?
Michelle?
No, I don't have anything else to add. It's been a pleasure one more year to work with them. I think it worked out great. We were reconciling cash by the 10th or the 15th of every month. So I think that's important and that we're staying on top of things. So I think it was another good year. I'm proud of it and I'm proud of the team.
Good, okay.
So I assume you need a motion to direct it to the full board? Okay, I'll make that motion.
I second it.
Do we need an actual vote, or can we do, no? All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, and we will look forward to voting on this on June the 15th. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew.
Yeah. That's a big one for this, well, really for the, it's a big one for this committee to do, but it's a lot of legwork from everybody else. Next up, we have department reports, and the first up is the monthly investment report, and I see that Brad is online. Welcome.
I am.
And we can hear you. That's always good.
All right, wonderful. Good evening. Thank you for having me.
Hi.
Well, that was a good report to hear. It's almost a tough act to follow there. Okay, so as I do each month, I like to give you a little market update if you'd like, and then talk about some investment earnings that you all have enjoyed throughout the year and give you an update on that. So hopefully you have a two-page document in the agenda.
We do.
And okay, so you're used to this format. Page 1 there, the top little spreadsheet gives you a breakdown of each of the accounts that we currently manage, the 17, 18, and 19 bond debt service reserve funds, along with your general fund. Last meeting, you all approved investing an additional $1.5 million. So that's brought it up to about $9.7 million that we manage in the general fund. And each of these accounts, you see the totals that they've earned so far year to date, with a total of $256,769. Now, in the blue and red bar graph below, just kind of like to give you a visual. I'm a visual person. So you've got the blue that just shows you the progression of the accumulated earnings each month and how that's growing to currently 256. And then each month, I just kind of like to see, what this looks like on a month-to-month basis. And your average is 51,354 for each month. I love to think about every month, this is a $50,000 salary that their annual salary is covered by your interest earnings. If we go to page 2, this now will stay the same for the rest of this year until we add 2026 to it. And so that's just a breakdown of each year, how much has been earned in each of the accounts that we have managed. And that brings us to a total relationship to date which next month will be our 8-year anniversary of $4.43 million in interest income from bond reserve funds, project funds, and general fund investments.
Okay, that's a remarkable win for the city, and thank you for what you do to invest it, and what our staff does to make sure that we have the proper amounts invested and the proper amounts coming due at the right times. Are there other questions for Brad? No? Okay, well, thank you once again, and we'll see you,
Okay. See
maybe
you all
not
next
June
month.
2nd, but we'll see you sometime or excuse me, July 2nd, maybe
Right.
sometime in July or in August. So, thank you.
Sounds good. Thank you all. Have a good night.
You too. Next, that takes us to the financial statements, and Michelle is on speaker there.
I am. In the packet, you will see the April financial statements. There's nothing that really sticks out. We still are holding pretty steady in really all the categories. Are there any immediate questions?
So I'll just ask the thing that I ask every time, which is about the sales tax revenue coming in. So it looks like sales taxes and other taxes are up a little bit, and then use tax is down a little. So can you just talk about how you're seeing this and how you're tracking that as we think about budgeting for the fall?
Yeah, and we continue to track this, and we have already sort of reconciled and watched May as well. We continue to watch this on a normal, regular basis, and it is up in use. It sort of feels like when sales tax goes up, use tax goes down, or vice versa. And we're still trying to decide if part of the trend of sales tax being up is contributed to 2025 or not. At this point, by April or May dollars, I'm going to assume no, that hopefully they've caught up. But for April, we're conservative in our approach, especially for the budget, but we are concerned that with the percentage of sales tax that remains up, that potentially for 2027, we should consider a 2% sales tax increase rather than the 1%, and do a 1% from then on out for 28 and 29 and 30. Mainly because we think some of the dollars sit in 26. So we're tracking it, and we're trying to analyze it the best that we know how, given the information that we have. We don't think that it's necessarily a huge jump, but we don't know that necessarily it's going to be more than 1% over the next 2 or 3 years. But we do think that some of the dollars are sort of haven't made their way in the necessary years.
Okay, good. And then we're also tracking the impact that the new development at Olive the impact that may have on shoppers in Brentwood.
We are, and we do feel like that may sort of come to light closer to the third quarter or fourth quarter. Like, I feel like by June we'll really know the impact, because June is actually May. So we're really hoping for probably third quarter and see what that impact looks like. But we are absolutely tracking that, yes.
Great, thank you. Are there other questions for Michelle? Okay, so thank you, Michelle. No questions. So we will move on to payroll services RFP. Is that you? I know it says you and Tangela and Michelle. Tangela, you're in the room. Are you?
Michelle will lead it off.
Oh, Michelle will lead. Okay, great.
Yeah, perfect. We did go out for RFP for payroll services. We do know that they're making some transitions with the Big Beautiful Act and trying to track the overtime for FLSA and other things. And they have been behind in trying to help us code this and be comfortable with it. So internally, we're doing it. Internally with Tangela, Jim, and myself, we thought it was best to sort of go out for RFP services and see what everybody else was doing. We ended up with 8. We are going to sort of interview and move forward with an interview process, and sort of doing a demonstration with the top 4. The other 4 were either pricey, they priced themselves out of the market, they had no local references, or they actually had no references even in the country. So that was sort of, we did do a scorecard on it, so we feel pretty prepared to move forward with the top 4.
Anything to add, Tangela? Okay, great. So for those who are watching online, Tangela noted that um, they are looking at these four and making sure that what they can provide matches with what we need with overtime and police and fire and other departments. So I think that sort of summarized it. So are there questions on this?
So will those four then come back, will that come back to this committee, or is it going to go straight to the board?
Recommendation will come to Ways and Means once they've determined who we want to go forward with. And
Okay.
then from here, a recommendation from here to the Board of
So
Aldermen.
out of those four, you'll come to this
one.
committee with one
Yes.
recommendation. We'll discuss it, and then
Yes.
if we concur, we can
Yes.
forward it on. Okay.
So really, this is for information at this point.
Right.
Okay, great.
Information on
And
that.
it will be a slightly accelerated recommendation because we're hoping to make this transition before the end of the year.
So we may have a July meeting, that second week of July, so. So we can move forward. Yeah, this is pretty important to get this right, so, good, okay. Any additional questions? So you don't, no action from us?
No, so, when, I just want to say that when Michelle started and Tangela started, and, we've had changes within the finance department and HR, and the board, thankfully, approved many years ago the position of a management analyst. And so we filled all those positions, and there was a long list of projects that we wanted to take on, efficiencies that we were looking to take on and improve how we do business. And so I'm very thankful that even though it was a heavy lift that was presented to the new staff, they've embraced it, and gradually they're delivering on each one, which makes us even a better run organization every day. So thank you to Michelle, to Jim McIntyre, and Tangela for taking this on.
Kudos to all of you. Okay. Moving along, we have the consent agenda. There's one item, approval of the May 7th minutes. Is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
The minutes are approved. And now we're at old business, which is the public library's request to purchase installed phones. Is this you, Bola?
So the library, the Brentwood Public Library, as we know, they are in the process of renovating the new space down the street. And while they have been in this building, the city has collaborated with them on many different things over the years: payroll, the space that they're in, benefits, phone systems, copiers. And we have our IT department, City of Clayton IT department, that we have an intergovernmental relation with to assist. So now that they're going to be going into the new building later this summer, early fall, they have asked to take on the phones that have been purchased for the public library. And in talking to IT, they say that because GoTo is constantly looking for new business, even though we got a discount on what we paid for those phones, they may feel a need to even further incentivize others to join. So the recommendation is to sell the phones we have, that the library has, at the cost that's in the agenda packet. And they've committed that they're going to go to a similar phone provider, so they're going to be able to use it. So the recommendation is to allow the library to purchase these phones at the cost that's in the memo.
Are there questions about this?
The only question I have is, and I think that sounds like you've done your due diligence on figuring out the cost and everything. I know there's been some discussion about what to do with the library space when they leave. If we were to, for example, allow a portion of it for the school district or whatever, that would be, they'd bring their own phones, or would we have to provide
I think it's
Stuff
a
like that.
discussion that we would need to have. It probably makes sense for us to provide the
Provide
phones
phones.
there.
And you think we'd have enough
And
spares and
From what
everything?
Larry tells me, we have enough, and if we have to buy more, given what I just said,
Yeah.
it would be a negligible cost to the
Okay.
city
All
to
right, great.
outfit that. We have enough phones for Public Works. We'll just take everything we have for Public Works Parks when we move to the new building. And it would be something that we would continue to evaluate as we go forward.
Okay, thank you.
So I'll entertain a motion to allow the library to purchase the phones that are currently in the space below City Hall. I'm looking for the price, and I hate this.
$1,781.42
Thank you. Is
for
that in the
for
form of a
9
motion?
devices.
Is that in the form of a motion?
That'll be in the form of a motion.
Second.
All in favor? Please.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, and the motion passes, so. Thank you on that. Thank you for all the staff work on that. That takes us to new business, which is, there is none. And then next is citizen comment. No one has joined the room. Is there anybody online? No one online. So with that, this meeting is adjourned.